50 Cent is the perfect example of a gangster rapper, the typical embodiment of the culture. You know, everything, all the stereotypes and stigma around it, he has been involved in or he's done. And he's able to draw his inspiration and his content from those extremes that he's lived. Being shot, mum dying, drugs, gang culture, all this stuff.
I can go about a week without nobody phoning till somebody got a knee for me.
Good example is Cadet. Cadet was, are you familiar with Cadet? So he died sadly last February in a car accident. But if you go through his like old catalogue of music, everything is very storytelling. And he would literally be videoing himself walking down the street, and he'd be rapping, and he'd be talking about that girl that's walking across the street, and this person in this taxi, and it was very powerful because he wasn't really talking about anything extreme at all. But the impact that you got and the feel that you got was so personal because it was like, yeah, I've done that. Oh, I'm doing that right now. And it was, you know, he was like very involved with the people in his surroundings. And I think that's a major thing. And that's something that I've always tried to do, is be more involved with the people around me and the environments that I'm in. That's what I want to touch on in my music. I want to talk about the insecurities, and especially male insecurities, because I feel like as a man, you've got to be the man. You've got to be the big man in the room. You know, you've got to be headstrong all the time. You've got to be, nothing can affect you. You can't be upset about anything. You can't let that girl break your heart. You can't walk away from that fight. I think over the lockdown, a lot of people have experienced mental health, or even sort of underlying things that have, where you've had the time to be sat there and you're not working and you're not able to go out. You can't just go and socialise and you can't just go and do this. So you're at home with your thoughts all the time. You're sat there in your brain thinking, and you're probably going over these things that you said, oh, it's not a big deal right now. I'll deal with that later. And it's getting you now. So I want to kind of touch on those aspects, like the mental health things, the problems that people are not dealing with.
Already noticed, told me how we gonna change the world, but don't you lose your focus. Nightmares in these night cares. We dreamt a limelight, this life in flight.